Great to have Evan Drellich with us from The Athletic. Nice to see you. You look nice and relaxed. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
All right, weird day. Get everybody up to speed on what transpired today.
The players were about to vote on a 60-game season that Major League Baseball had proposed, and at the last minute, Commissioner Manfred sent over an email to Tony Clark attempting to address one of the concerns the players had. The players were worried that if they give in to this proposal and they give the owners what they're seeking for not only this year but for next year, including expanded playoffs, that the owners could then turn around and basically cancel the season rather easily this year. What's to stop the owners from canceling it after 15 games, citing a fear of the pandemic, if they have what they want for 2021? So the commissioner offered to the players to basically nullify the parts of the agreement for 2021 if this year gets canceled. But there's no indication that that's enough to move the players to take this 60-game offer. We're waiting to see the next step.
It seems reasonable to me for the players to ask for 70 games. So in your gut, do you feel the pushback from the league on 70 games is truly about time, or is it about money?
Well, time in this instance is money. The players suspect that the owners, by waiting, are effectively saving themselves money. That if we get to a point where all they can offer, based on the calendar, is roughly 60 or so games, that's a benefit to them because the players are getting paid on a per-game basis this year, and the owners do not want to push back the calendar this year. They don't want the playoffs to go into November because there's fears of the second wave of the pandemic come the fall.
So if this goes through, though, and there is an expanded playoff, and you're talking 14 or 16 teams, how do they intend on getting a postseason done by, let's say November 1st?
Great question. The exact format isn't clear. They've had some discussions on this, but it'd be 8 teams in each league, and you'd have to do it fast. You probably wouldn't have as many off days, and you are adding an extra round of the playoffs. So exactly what it would look like isn't known at this point, but it is a fair question. Would you need to extend it at all just by virtue of adding these extra teams? They don't seem to think so.
You're so close to this every day, so I trust your opinion on this. How much damage long-term has already been done by the fact that these two sides have bickered so publicly about this for the last 6 weeks?
Tom, the damage would be particularly heightened if they don't settle on a new deal, because that's going to mean there's going to be a grievance, and that would go on in the background. You could play the season and have the grievance play out while the guys are out there. But the grievance could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You're gearing up for next year, a collective bargaining agreement negotiation, a full-fledged discussion. If you have the runway to that, being not only everything we just went through, but the potential of this grievance, it's ugly. It's been ugly, but you have the potential for it to get even uglier.
Forgive what might be an ignorant question, because I keep talking about it every day during the newscast. Well, the players might have the right to file a grievance, or they might waive the right to file a grievance. Explain what that is, and if a 50-game season is put in place, what are they filing a grievance about?
The grievance could be about many things, but the crux of it would be that the sides had this March agreement, basically laying out how things would go during this time. It's kind of part one of all of this. And inside of it, it said the commissioner's office has to make its best efforts to play as many games as possible. So the main accusation in a grievance would be that the league didn't do that they were trying to suppress the number of games artificially so that they didn't have to pay as much money. And there would be other elements of the grievance as well. Now, if they work out a new deal here and they agree on a 60-game season as the league has proposed, the players would be waiving the right to that grievance. But if the players don't accept that offer, then the commissioner, by that March agreement, has the right to come in and set the schedule. He's just facing then that grievance because the players won't have waived the right. They won't have made a new deal.
So what happens? Who hears the grievance? Where does that go? Does it go to a court? Does it go to an arbitrator? What transpires?
Virtually everything in baseball is mandated to go to an independent arbitrator. So it would be handled by an arbitrator and would be quite a spectacle, at least inside of baseball, because there would be this potential for financial documents that the league has to be revealed, at least to the union. I don't know about publicly, but it'd be a mess. You'd be essentially going to baseball versions of a courtroom, one at a time you're supposed to be preparing for collective bargaining.
Well, what's transpired over the last 2 months, amazingly to me, basically put on the back burner the biggest story of the baseball year, which you and Ken Rosenthal broke, which was about the sign stealing scandal in Houston, how that rubbed off to Boston. So much has transpired on both fronts there. Everyone was expecting this to be payback year for the Astros. Who knows how that's going to play out, but specifically with the Red Sox and with how that played out and Alex Cora's future, based on what you know, do you think Alex Cora will be working in Major League Baseball in 2021? And if so, do you think that'll be with the Red Sox?
I think if he wants to be in the sport in 2021, be that in a dugout capacity, be that a front office capacity, we don't know exactly what he wants. That's a large part of it. He'll have that opportunity, and I think he'll have it basically as soon as he wants it. Somewhere, someone's going to take a chance on him because he is a very talented guy. He did do a lot of strong things. Look at the rim, right? We know that there is the potential for him to have a long, strong career in the sport beyond what he's already done. I don't think it would be with the Red Sox for the simple reason that everything they explained about why they let him go was based on the Astros. That hasn't changed. You know, the fact is that they hired him coming off the season when he did something really wrong, he and others with that organization that year. He didn't disclose it. So I don't think anything's honestly changed with the Red Sox situation. That's how I look at it.
Were you surprised at the report from Major League Baseball about the Red Sox after their investigation of Boston in 2018?
The surprise was not that they were found to have committed the wrongdoing as it's being reported. The surprise was that they basically pegged it on one rogue individual, and that it seemed like a departure from the way the league had handled the Astros punishment just a couple months prior. It seemed like a departure from what the league had said it would do going back to 2017, when it said it was going to hold a GM and manager responsible for this kind of conduct. And instead they said, no, it was just this one guy, which strains credulity to me. It's a questionable claim, but indeed that is what the league found. And you have to remember, Major League Baseball is not a court of law. It acts in its own benefit. It has PR interests. So they did a thorough investigation, but the punishment they settled on, I think, is what people could object to.
Well, Evan, you're a must-read. We appreciate everything you do in covering the sport of baseball and the Red Sox, and thank you so much for joining us tonight and giving us some of your time.
Anytime, Tom. Thank you.